So I stumbled upon someone's video here, and he was trying to justify the reasons why he calls some players average players, and then he went ahead to say that some players are world-class players, some players are legendary players, and then some players are just average players. He said the legendary players are the likes of, Messi and the rest. The world-class players are those players that produce results, year in, year out, and then the average players are those ones who have not really won anything much, and that is why sometimes in the transfer windows he calls some players average players. But then I want to make some corrections to that or those assumptions. Now, if you look at the game of football, the players are classified into 4 categories. Players are classified into 4 categories: the goalkeeping section, the defense, the midfield section, and then you have the forward players. If you are a left winger, right winger, center forward player, you are all forward players. If you are a central midfielder, if you are a defensive midfielder, if you are an attacking midfielder, you are all midfielders. If you are a left wing back, if you are a right wing back, if you are a center back, you are all defenders. And then you have the goalkeepers. So the metrics for assessing the performance of these players are different. The metrics you use to assess a goalkeeper is different from the metrics you use to assess a forward player, and different from the metrics you use to assess a defender. So you look at a forward player, the metrics you most likely be using for a forward player is goals produced. How many goals has this person produced? The midfielders, you are looking at assists. How many chances, how many big chances have you created? These are things that you look out for in midfield players. Then for the defenders, you are looking at, duels won. Do you get? Tackles won, duels won, Then the goalkeepers, you are not looking at clean sheet kept, big saves made in the games. So there are different metrics used to assess players. So for me, I would like to say that players can only or should be categorized into top level players, middle class players, and then the low class players. Then how do you now get this top level, middle level, and then the low class? You now have to use the metrics. You now have to use the points generated from these players during their play or their performance. Take for instance, you are categorizing forward players, and then you have 10 forward players, and then 2 of them were making up to 10 points in 4 games. Other 3 were making up to 8 points. The other 2 were making up to 5 points. Another 2 were making just up to 4 points or 3 points. And then you bring these things together for you to get the average. Average just means the middle class. I don't know what he was trying to explain with that average players. But then I think average just means the middle class players. When you combine these 10 players or more, you can say all the players that are forward players, let us get their performance level, let us get their performance rating. And no, you now say, okay, this player is 10 points, this one got 10 points, this one got 7 points, this one got 6 points, this one got 4 points. And then you add their points together. And then divide by the number of players that you have used to do that assessment. The value you will get will now be the average, or some persons will say in mathematics, the mean value. Now, when you get this mean value, what happens? It means that this is the average. This is the average, score that any player can get, or any player should get to become an average player. And then some people might want to go further to say, okay, you say mean plus or minus standard deviation, such as standard deviation maybe let me say 2 points or 1 point. Then you now say, since the mean is, let's say the mean is 6 points, you now say 6 plus or minus the standard deviation. The standard deviation is 2, so 6 plus 2 will give you 8, 6 minus 2 will give you 4. So any player who is between the range of 4 to 8 is categorized as what? As a middle class player or an average player. So people may want to ask, what are the criteria you use in assessing these players to know that these players are average players? Because you cannot say a player is coming from, maybe because it's coming from a low class league or a league that you think it is not in the spotlight, then you say this player is an average player. No. Or you say the team that he's playing for is not performing well, and then you call that player a low class player or an average player. No, you can't do that. Because if you go through his performance ratings, you may discover that a particular player in a club that is very poor or performing poor, there will be one particular player whose rating will be very high because he has achieved so many things. Depending on the position he or she is playing, he has achieved so many things. And that is why you see big clubs, they will look out for those, players who are in those small clubs that are performing well, that their ratings are high. They go and pick them and say, oh, this is a talent. He needs to be playing in a well-organized team. He needs to be playing in a performing team, a team that will bring up his, his performance, or bring up his skill. So you can't just see a player and say, oh, this player is an average player. What are the metrics? What are the ratings you use to assess this player to say this player is what? An average player. These are things that people are asking for. And so you want to say, because this person has attained a certain level in football content creation, that you expect him to make inferential statements that are backed up with facts. So this is just what I just want to say about this average player, something legendary player, and all of that. Let us be mindful of players who are performing very, very well, even better than players who are in all these big teams. But then, because they have found themselves in those underperforming teams, you can't say that they are not giving their best for the development of or they don't have the talent to play in big clubs, or come into big clubs and perform. So when you look at their ratings, that is why you have what are they called? Scouts. That is why you have scouts. Those people go to all these junior clubs, look at people who have talent, look at people who are produced, whose ratings are high. They just pick them and bring them to their club. So you can't just see a player that somebody has scouted that player and then you are saying this player is an average player. No. There's a reason why they went for that player. They have seen something in that player. They have checked the ratings of this player before they go out to say, we need this player in a top club. I hope this helps, and I hope this enables you make a more informed decision next time. Let me know what you think in the comment section.